Okay, so I decided to do a year in review. I've never done this before, but I wanted to practice some After Effects stuff because I don't use it very often. And it was a pretty productive year, so I figured I would talk about it a little bit. So this year was a pretty good year. I did a lot of hobby stuff, went to school, worked a little bit everything. Mostly what I focused on though was getting healthy. Because for a few years I wasn't really take care of myself. So the last 2 years I really focused on getting healthy, and sticking to a routine of doing the same thing every day in order to maintain health, which involved working out, eating right, all sorts of shit like that, and other stuff, just mental stuff like drawing and reading and things to just keep me sharp. So the first thing I did this year that was kind of cool was I decided to really change how I was eating. And the year before this, I started eating more fiber, more fruit, more vegetables and stuff. Because before that, I really just ate like cereal and meat, which was terrible. But this year, I went vegan for about 6 months, which was no big deal. Like it was pretty easy, and it was good. But after a while, I noticed that I wasn't as strong as I used to be. Like I could still lift as much weight, but I couldn't lift it as many times. And it was just sort of a very gradual decline over the 6 months. And I eventually started taking an amino acid supplement, which helped a bit, but it was a really slow recovery. I stopped losing strength, but I didn't really gain strength. I sort of plateaued for about 2 months. And then I decided that I would go vegan, mainly because I ate a lot of pasta and stuff like that. And I really miss Parmesan cheese. Um, I don't really need it for the like milk and stuff because I have no problem with almond milk and stuff and oat milk. But the cheese was a major hit because vegan cheese is not very good. Especially when you cook it, it comes out like disgusting. So I decided to go out and eat some cheese. So I've been probably 2 or 3 months of vegetarian, which is a lot better. There's a lot more options. It's amazing how many things have dairy in them, even if it's just a little bit, and I've been sticking to that. Um, I'm not like 100% vegan or vegetarian because when I go out for dinner or when I go to somebody else's house, I eat whatever they serve. I don't like being sort of a problem, and that's fine. Like I don't go out a ridiculous amount, like a not every night sort of thing. So probably about 90, 95% of my meals are still vegetarian or vegan. So it's not that bad. Other stuff I did this year that was kind of good was I started collecting houseplants, and I must have about 40 of them now. Like, it really got out of hand for a while, and I've sort of filled up all my spaces, so I can't have any more. But that was a lot of fun, and it's cool. Like, I love watching it grow. It's really interesting. Um, I did a project on houseplants, and I learned a lot about which plants are good for air quality and oxygen production, CO2 reduction. So I really just got plants that were good for that, and that's on my website if you want to check it out. It's got sort of a guide to it. I'll put my website in the bio. Um, Beyond that, like I said, it was a pretty productive year. A lot of activity stuff. Another thing I worked on for my health was I started doing yoga because I've started having really bad back problems, especially my lower back. Just because I sit so much and drawing, you're so hunched over, and it's not great for your back. So I started doing yoga, which has reduced my chiropractor bill considerably, but uh, yeah, it's good. Like I do it every day, just 10 minutes, and it makes a pretty big difference. Actual back pain that I feel is significantly reduced, and I think I've been to the chiropractor maybe 5 times this year, and I used to go almost every 2 weeks, and I was always in pain. And now I'm barely ever in pain, and he really just has me on a maintenance schedule to make sure that it doesn't get bad again. So that's pretty cool. Other stuff this year is I invested a lot of money, and I accumulated considerably more money than I have other years. So I bought a lot of shit that I'd been putting off for a long time. So I got some pretty cool shit this year. One thing I got was I got a new TV, which was long overdue because I had a really good but really cheap TV. So it was super high resolution, but it was like a no-name brand. I think it was called Skyworth, and it was sort of haunted. Like it turned itself on, and it was glitchy as fuck. And it was a smart TV, but it was one of the first smart TVs, so it was not great. Um, so I got a Samsung frame, which was pretty pricey, but I got it on Prime Day, so it was significantly reduced. And I got the 55 inch, which comes with better sound. So if you're getting one, get a 55 inch. It's actually cheaper than like the 42 or 50 or whatever it is, which is weird. I guess it's like they make more of them so they can be cheaper. I don't know. But it's cool. It has this feature that you can play art, um, which I thought was pretty awesome. So you have like a slideshow of art, and that's cool. And there's like thousands of curated things from galleries and artists. It's just really awesome. So I have that going on all the time now. I also got a new Wacom tablet, one of the Cintiq ones where you actually have the screen, which was I got it because I had one of the Intuos ones, which is just like the tablet, which doesn't have a screen on it, and it was starting to have dead spots. Like it was like 10 years old. So I got this one. It was a pretty penny, but it's really cool and it works really, really well. And it's amazing with Corel Painter. So I did a lot of drawing this year after I got it, and that was awesome. And then I also got a new cell phone, the Pixel 8, which I got because it's the only time it'll ever be called Pixel 8, which I just sort of thought was cute. So I got that, and a lot better than I think I had the Pixel 6 before this, and it's amazing how much better it is. And it's supposed to have, like, what do they call that? Like updates for an extremely long time. I think it's 10 years or something. I know it's good until 2030, I think. I think it was 7 years. And my other one, the Pixel 6, they were going to stop supporting it in a few months. So I was like, fuck it, I got to get a new phone or I won't have like security coverage. So I got a new phone. I also got that on Prime Day, so that was a good steal. Beyond that, I got a new bass guitar, which was cool, Fender Squier. So I've been playing the bass a fair bit. The other thing that's new is I finally quit smoking. Well, not really. I quit, but I'm still vaping, but I'm vaping significantly less nicotine than a cigarette. Like I smoke like one cigarette a day equivalent in vape, and I'm just reducing it constantly, and eventually I will quit. Like it's just a slow and steady process, which is good, and I feel a lot better. Like my breathing's better. I don't get headaches. I highly suggest switching to vaping. I think it's a great substitute to smoking, and it's a very easy way to quit. Like I don't miss smoking at all. Like it's just so much better, so much cleaner. You smell better. You don't get headaches. You don't get a sore throat. It's just easy. And it's cheap too, especially if you buy the nicotine in like the container and mix it yourself. It's like less than a couple dollars a day if you smoke a ton. So it's pretty awesome. I got the Caliburn, which I think is the Caliburn G3, which is the e-cigarette I use. It's really good. The atomizers last a really long time, especially if you get the lower ohmage one. So those are really good. So those are sort of my favorite things that I got this year. I also got an iPad, but that was really recently. I got that on Black Friday, and that's pretty cool. Procreate's a lot of fun. It's super intuitive. It's so much easier to use than any of the other drawing softwares I've used, and it sort of comes like easy access to all the tools you really, really want. And some of the weird glitchy things like in Photoshop, some of the ways the pens work and the layering and stuff like that, I don't really like. And Procreate has that too, but it doesn't seem like as big a deal because the blend tools actually work, so you don't need to layer with opacity as much. And the blend tool works a lot better than Corel Painter, which is the only thing wrong with Corel Painter is when you blend something that's not like a blend layer, like with multiply or darken or something turned on, it makes like a white haze around the edges, which is terrible. But Corel Painter is definitely a better drawing software, especially if you're used to traditional media. Like the pencil tool works like a pencil. The shading is exactly the same, which is really cool. And I've never had a software that did that. I've tried probably 10 different drawing softwares, and Corel Painter is the first one that actually mimics real world tools really, really well, which is awesome. What else is new this year? I only have one more year of school left, which is really nice. It's almost over, my second degree. Doing a lot better this time than I did on my first degree. Like 20% better, which is, nice. It's not bad. Like I passed my first one, I got my diploma or degree or whatever, but this time I'll be graduating with distinction, which is cool. Yeah, so I'm going to show you some of the stuff I did this year, like my artwork, books that I read, games that I played, stuff like that. I was going to show movies, but I watched a lot of movies and I don't remember them all. so I'm not going to show them. And I'll just say that the best one I watched was probably Parasite. Parasite was really good. Um, and Big Lebowski, I watched a bunch of times because I really like Big Lebowski. I think that's a funny movie. Everything about it is kind of awesome. It's just I just turn it on and forget about it. And it might be replacing Lord of the Rings for my favorite movie of all time, like most watched, because I just sort of like looped it for a while in the summer. Um, yeah, what else is going on? I'm super addicted to caffeine now. Now that I've quit smoking and quit doing drugs and decreased my drinking to like a pittance, I drink a lot of caffeine. Energy drinks, caffeine pills, all sorts of stuff. I don't take a lot of caffeine pills, but when I do, it's sort of awesome. Like I love the caffeine high. I'm on one, I took one this morning, but I got up like 6 hours ago, so it's kind of wearing off a little bit. But you still feel pretty good. It's kind of a necessity. Like I find that I've been getting up a lot earlier. Like I get up at like 5 now, 5 a.m. and by 10 o'clock, like 10 p.m., I'm pretty dead. So I kind of need some caffeine just to do the nighttime stuff. Like I work out late in the night, like between about probably 9 and 10, maybe 8 and 10, somewhere in there. And yeah, I just felt really burned out. Yeah, I've been getting up early ever since I got COVID. I don't know what happened. My sleep schedule got like reversed. Before I was staying up until like 5 in the morning and sleeping until lunchtime, and now I'm going to bed at like 10 and getting up at like 5 a.m. So I don't know. It's backwards now, but it's been 2 years like this, and I'm just so much more productive that it's kind of awesome. It's a little weird, like when you go on dates or something, and they're like, "Let's go out at 8 o'clock," and you're like, "Fuck, I don't really want to," you know? Like I'm going to bed in 2 hours. You're gonna make me go to bed at like 1 in the morning? Like fuck that. And a lot of people get a little weirded out if they text you at like 10 o'clock and you're asleep. But I like it. I don't really care. And I'm not really that into dating right now. Like I'm going on a few dates, but I'm not enjoying it. So I think I'm gonna take a little hiatus from that and just focus on school and work and doing good shit in my spare time. Like that's more interesting to me. I just sort of dreaded the last maybe 3 or 4 dates that I went on, and it's not really fair to the person you're going on a date with if you're not that into it. So I'm gonna take a little hiatus from dating. What else is going on? There is not much else. I redecorated my place a bunch of times. You can't see it because most of it's on this wall, but I got a bunch of artwork. I found this great service called Printify, where you can take art and they'll put it on a canvas and send it to you for a fee that's not ridiculous. Originally, I was going to buy stuff off Amazon, like prints from Amazon, but they want like $200 for some of these prints, and you can get them printed for like, I think it was like 50 for same print, same size. I just had to find the picture, which you can find on Google Images a lot of the time, and then you print it up and they mail it to you. It's pretty awesome. It takes a little bit longer than Amazon, but it's worth it. Like I got a bunch of them, so I saved a ton of money. So that was cool. Yeah, and I guess that pretty much sums up this year. Trying to think, is there anything else? No. So without further ado, I will show you my sort of like yearly list thing. I don't know what we're gonna call it. It's not really the best of, but it's a collection of things that I did this year. So I hope you enjoy. So the first section of hobby stuff from year in review is art, and I did a fair amount of art this year. I got 2 new programs for making art: Procreate, which is what the first one thing was done in, and Corel Painter, which is what the majority of this stuff is done in. Corel Painter is amazing. So is Procreate, but like Corel Painter, it just adds a level of professionalism to it that's hard to duplicate, and the real world tools are really well simulated. Procreate is great too. It's really intuitive and really easy to use, but I use Corel Paint for most of these. As you can see, it was kind of a heavy year into swirls, but beyond that, I kind of went all over the map and did a bit of everything. There's a lot of realism, a lot of surrealism, a lot of portraits, and that was sort of the flavor of the year, just a bit of everything. It was the first year in a long time where I actually made a significant amount of art, which was cool, and I hope to continue that into next year. The next section of year in review hobby stuff was books. What books I read in 2024. In 2023, I read like 35 books or something like that. So this year was significantly less. So I read Babel, which was sort of a meh. It was sort of like 1984 meets Harry Potter. Then Neuroscience, Cognitive Neuroscience, which was sort of cool. I haven't actually finished that one yet. I'm still working on it, but it's almost finished. Then East of Eden, which was sort of like a family drama, a very dysfunctional family. Then a bunch of Dune, which were all kind of garbage. And then Brain and Behavior, which was awesome. Brief History of Time, which was eh. Rum Diary, which was really good, but not as good as Fear and Loathing. Intelligent Investor, very, very informative. The Art of War, which was terrible. The Master and the Margarita, which was really cool. Psychology of Money, which was informative. Sapien, which was really awesome. Again, 2 Dune books, which were both pretty bad. Big Sewer, which was okay. Jack Kerouac's not my favorite. Silent Spring, which is about pesticides in the 60s. Ray Bradbury Stories, which was kind of boring. And Darwin, Origin of Species, which was incredibly long and kind of awful. As far as the 5 best books was Massacre, Murder, Sapien, Rum Diaries, Brain and Behavior, and East of Eden. Of those 3, Sapien, the Rum Diary, and Brain and Behavior were the best. Sapien is just like it says on the cover, a brief history of humankind, which was really well done. The Rum Diaries, I love the writing style of Hunter S. Thompson, and it was pretty good. It was a really light read, and I just breezed through it in a few days. And then Brain and Behavior was definitely the heaviest, and personally my favorite of the 3 top runners. The ton of tidbits of interesting facts. And when I got it, it was like $1 or something like that. Now it's like $150. So I don't know why it went way up in price, but that was a really good read. The next section is video games of 2024. Not all these games were released in 2024. These are just the games that I played the most in 2024. And I didn't really play that many video games. Like I maybe sunk a few hundred hours, maybe 200 hours into video games this year. Which is more than I played the year before, but I didn't invest a huge amount of time. So the first one is Baldur's Gate, which is technically a huge undertaking, amazing game, and I haven't finished it yet, but I'll probably finish it before New Year's. Fallout Shelter, which is the game I spent the most time playing, and it's pretty old, but it's amazing, so much fun. Townscaper, which was just really interesting to play. It's not for everybody, but if you're creative and want to build a city, it's cool. Black Ops 6, which was one of the best Call of Duties I've played in a long time. And Elden Ring, which is probably the best game I've ever played. It was amazing. I finally beat it this year, and super rewarding. And then Duolingo, which is something I spent a ton of time playing after August this year. I started in August. I haven't missed a day yet. And really awesome. Learn a lot playing Duolingo, that's for sure. Okay, so I decided to do a conclusion to the year in review thing because there's some stuff that I didn't really think about or include. So the first one was another game that I played that was really, really good. It wasn't as good as like Baldur's Gate or Elden Ring, but it was still worth mentioning, which was the Banner Saga. I've only played the first one, but I want to play the other ones. It's a pretty solid game. It sort of scratches the Baldur's Gate itch. The other thing I want to talk about was another movie that was really good that I watched a few times, which was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's Quentin Tarantino. It's got Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. And this girl who was in The Substance and Poor Things, who I really enjoy. Another thing I want to talk about was an item that I bought, which I thought was just great value. I bought these fake Birkenstocks off Amazon, which were incredible. They're a little bit wider than normal Birkenstocks, so personally I found them more comfortable because I'm flat-footed. But I got Birkenstocks for Christmas, and they are really awesome too. They seem like they're definitely better quality because these things were like $30 or something. I'll leave a link in the description so you can pick those up if you want to. If you've never had Birkenstocks, it's worth a try, and it's significantly easier on the wallet than actually buying the real thing. The last thing I wanted to talk about was, well, 2 more things actually. One is my website. You can check out the artwork that I did this year and other years on there. You can buy it on there. There's also a book suggester on there from 2023, which I made this year, which has all the books I read last year, which was significantly more than this year. And it's sort of like a quiz, and then it gives you, based on your answers, what book you should read. It's not exactly accurate, but it's kind of fun. It's worth checking out. I'll leave a link in the description to that too, because it might be hard to find on the actual website. Another thing this year is there was another hobby that I really got into, especially in the later part of this year, like just over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, which was tattooing, which brings me to my final point, which is what to do next year. Next year I graduate, so I gotta sort of pick a lane on what I want to do when I graduate. And right now I sort of have four options. I could do a tattoo apprenticeship, which is another 4 years, but you get paid a little bit, and you actually get a really cool skill out of it, which is nice. And you get to draw all day, every day, which is awesome. Then there's graphic design, just like generalist, which is probably the most streamlined thing to go into. Then there's web design, which is a lot of fun, but it's a long road to mastery of web design, but ChatGPT makes it a lot easier. And then there's game design, which is what I already have my degree in. And, it's okay. I'm not as crazy about it as I was when I was younger, but it's still a valuable option, and you get paid significantly more for that than anything. You get paid quite a bit for tattooing if you're good at it and you're like a booked solid, but it's a long road to that point. So game design is the quickest way to a lot of money, I guess. So it's a tough decision, and we'll sort of see what I do. I'm going to try not to do a little bit of everything, which is what I've been doing for a really long time, and just pick one and stick with it. But that's a mission for another day. So that brings me to a close of 2024 year in review. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say. Hope you guys have a good year, and hopefully I do this next year. I don't know if I will. I just sort of wanted to practice After Effects, and this was a good excuse to do it. So that was that. All right. Peace.